is what is it like raising a teenage girl in today's world?
Raising a 16-year-old daughter right now is no joke.
I have a 2-year-old who acts like she's like 25. She's Miss Independence. And I am not looking forward to her having a phone, driving, going to dances. Like, I'm not looking forward to it at all.
When it came to like that teenage, like just crabbiness and snottiness, I mean, she was great. 12, 13, 14, great. 15, started feeling it. 16, oh my gosh, she hates us sometimes.
Hi, welcome back to Low Key Not a Podcast. I'm Amanda, as you know. And today I am here with my sister-in-law slash friend slash fellow coffee lover slash my shopping buddy slash my hairdresser, Jamie.
Hi, everyone.
So here today, he is toning my hair because we just went to Aruba not that long ago and my yellows are back. So I need to get it looking back to that normal color that I like. And I know nothing about hair, so I probably just worded that completely wrong.
You're good.
But so to start out, so Jamie, tell me a little bit about like you. So for anybody that you don't know Jamie, which most of you probably don't, Jamie got pregnant at 16. So you have a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about getting pregnant young.
So, yes, like she said, I was 16 when I got pregnant. And it was with my husband, Mike, who I am still with. And yeah, it was pretty challenging. It was a scary time. Thank God we had a great family. I had an amazing mother and just support system. My mother-in-law was amazing. But yeah, so my son, he is Jonathan David. My daughter is Gracie. And then our little guy is Danny. And yeah, we are very lucky. And I feel like I've been very blessed to have the family that I have and to have the people in my life that supported us so much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was a junior in high school I was a sophomore. My summer year. It's going into junior year when I found out I was pregnant. So, but yeah, it's pretty intense time for me.
Yeah, I know. Like, so how old am I? I don't even know how old I am. I'm about to be 27 in a week, and I feel like I'm growing up with my daughter, like with Anaya. Like, I feel like I'm raising her. So like I'm like finding myself and like growing up. So was it like? Do you feel like it was like really hard with? By the way, we call Jonathan JD.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say JD because I don't call him Jonathan.
No, you don't.
But that's a weird word. But so like with JD, did you feel like did you grow up fast? Did you like what was it like growing up? Like, did you feel like you grew up with him because you were like still a kid yourself?
So at the time, my husband and I have had these conversations, and it is, I actually 100% we grew up with our son, which is so crazy to think like that, but we really did. We both had to snap into reality and get our crap together and become parents. I didn't have time to be a 17-year-old girl, and I never did. And I'm very happy that I never did. Like I never missed that, basically.
Yeah.
I knew that this was my responsibility, and so we took that on full on, and it is very challenging, and it was. But when we look back on him, like our son, he holds such a special place in our heart because we grew up with him, and we learned so much from raising him. And, so many people worry about losing yourself when you have kids. And yeah, I mean, I've had my moments of being sad and feeling like I missed out on things. But reality is he was everything to us.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, we always kind of giggle that, he's the glue that held us together when we were so young, trying to get through life. Just having him made us stronger together. Mm-hmm. And we just knew what type of life we wanted and how we wanted to raise our son. And that was together. So yeah, we definitely grew up with him.
Yeah. Do you feel like did you and Mike ever go through like a period where, I don't know, like I feel like when your kids are like really little, you can't help but just like be mad at your husband and like blame them for every little thing that like even like last night, like, and I wasn't sleeping and I was literally blaming Matt. I was like, Matt, like, I was like, go get her, like, or like, I'll be like, don't be mean. She doesn't like that. Like, when in reality, like, I was just like being ridiculous and like, I know, ridiculous.
Yes.
So, like, do you guys ever feel like you ever like, did you ever have like a really like low or like really hard struggling point where you guys thought like, we can't do this?
Oh, many times.
Yeah.
Although my husband's the sweetest guy in the world and he adores me and he thinks that we never had hard times.
Yeah. He's obsessed with you.
Yeah. No, but yes, there was plenty of hard times and plenty of times where I wanted to throw in the towel and he wanted to call it quits. Or, I mean, if you for the first, I don't know, 6 months of us being parents, we were living in separate houses because I was still living with my parents. And and then I moved in with his parents when, my mom and stepdad and my family moved to Pennsylvania really, really young. And there was plenty of times we wanted to call it quits. And there's plenty of things I blamed him for.
Yeah.
Raising all of our kids. And, just that's kind of what we do. They get the blunt of us, Amanda.
Oh,
husbands.
Yeah.
For so they get the hard side of
That's
us.
how you like know they're a good one if they stick through it.
Call us crazy a couple times and then that's so
so with JD, who did you stay home with and who did you work with?
So with JD I went to I was still in high school, so I finished off high school and then I still worked too. I worked a part-time job and then with Gracie I worked most of the time when I was pregnant with Gracie. And then I did take off a little bit of time with her. I'm trying to remember how long it was. I probably went back to work just in the evenings working at a salon, like right around when she was like a year.
Okay.
I want to say about a year. And then I kind of wanted more. So I ended up finding another salon that I loved and I worked there like 4 days a week. And she went to daycare.
And then Danny, you did a little bit of both.
Yes. Well, thankfully I can have my own little place in my home. So with Danny, I mainly was home with him. And then I worked downstairs in my little salon in the evenings. And I had a sitter, 1 day a week that would babysit him so I could get more clients in.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I feel like I had a nice balance of work and being a mom. I thought I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom for like the longest time. Yeah. And then I just felt like I give kudos to all those moms that stay home all the time with their kids. And I mean, they're truly amazing. I was craving like adult interaction.
Yeah. No, so, I know.
And just feeling like I needed a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then when I was working, I complained about having to work. And so it's like just finding a balance. It's hard.
I know. Or even like sometimes too, when you're like doing something like on your own, like you don't like work for someone. I feel like too, like it almost feels like I always feel like, well, this is like pointless putting all my time into this. Cause like you don't always see like, you're not seeing like crazy money. So you're like, cause you have like, I mean, I've been to the beauty supply store with you.
Yes.
I know what you're paying in hair dye.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're like, is this like worth, like you're like almost like feel guilty too. Like sometimes like, I feel like that's like what I've always struggled with was being like, oh, like if I'm like, we're barely making any money with you working. So it's like, is it even worth it? Right. Like for me to like miss out on her life. But like the best advice someone gave me was that like, you have to do like when you're your best self for her.
Yeah.
And like if you're not good at like being home and like if you're not good at like if it's bad combination, like me and her probably, I used to get so sick of her. And she's a good kid. I'm just not the personality to sit home or stay home. And neither is she really though. Like she loves to
be on the go.
Oh yeah. Kids adapt. I don't care what anybody says. They adapt to you and your personalities and what you do. And like she 100% adapted to us and our crazy lifestyle. But I feel like it's so hard though, like that guilt like never goes away.
Yeah, it is. And mom guilt's, it's real. And it really, and then I think like just our time, like you see videos and you see other social media posts and you really do as a female, you can't help but compare yourself to all that and just think that you should be doing more. There's some moms that kick butt and they're working full time. They come home and they have everything ready, dinner, and I just am blown away by those moms that do it. And I don't know. It's just kind of, I think it is just finding like what makes you feel good as a woman and a mom so you can be the best that you can.
Yeah. And I think too, like, I feel like it's always like overlooked, like what you fill yourself with. Like I feel like a lot of people look like down on social media, or they'll be like, oh, like this is just like a toxic place, which it can be for sure. You're not like healthily balanced. And if you're not like, and honestly though, you're an adult, like you can follow who you want to follow.
Yes.
Like you can unfollow someone if they're making you feel a certain way, like you can unfollow them. Or like if they're encouraging like you to like not be good with your kids, like then that's probably not a good person you should be following.
Yeah.
But
their life doesn't follow your life.
Oh,
so
yeah.
don't compare.
So it's like, I feel like you can, like, I feel like it's what you fill yourself with. And like, as long as you're filling yourself with things that like better you and that are going to make you a better person and like your best version of yourself, like that's what matters. And that's where like I found like, I mean, I tried bringing Anna to work the first like 6 months and it failed so fast.
Yeah.
I remember being like to everybody, yeah, this is great. Like, she's coming everywhere with me. My clients love her.
Yeah. I used to say the same thing. I would have clients down here and be like, oh, you can bring Danny down whenever you want. I'm like, no, you don't understand what he's like if I bring him down here.
Especially when they start talking and like they get comfy around people.
Yep.
My child like thinks she can just hug everyone, and kids hate that.
But no, I agree. It is, I don't know. I think finding a balance between working and being a mom and being a wife, it's hard.
Oh yeah, it definitely is hard.
But I will say that little girl, she's for the rest of her life, she's going to be your world. So I say invest as much time as you can in her and raising her and just teaching her to be the best little person she can be.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. And then, so we kind of like touched a little bit on like you saying that you feel like you didn't really like miss out a lot. Like, but did you ever like, I don't know, I feel like there's like this unrealistic expectation on Instagram that you're going to find this person and she is going to be your best friend for your whole life. You're going to have everything in common. You're going to live next door to each other in the same neighborhood. You're going to like, just like your kids are going to click. Everything's just going to go perfect.
Yeah.
And you'll have this person like, and you won't have anything else in the world to keep you from this person. And I feel like that's like, as a girl, I feel like for me, like I've struggled so much with being like, oh, like why do these people find friends, and like, what am I doing wrong? Am I not a likable person? Like, have you ever like felt that way or like struggled with that?
100%. Yeah. So my husband and I, he like teased me because he says that he'd be happy if like I was the only person he talked to all the time. Like he only needs me to be his best friend. I don't know if that's a guy thing or what.
It is a guy thing for sure.
I've told him a handful of times that like as a female, we crave like having a connection with our friends.
Yeah.
And I think it's really hard when you don't. And yeah, when I look back, I kind of do wish that I did have, close friends, and I wish I stayed in contact with them. And I wish as a 37-year-old that I had a very best friend to, fill in those gaps of, when I'm feeling like I need some girl talk or just out and about having fun to come without being my husband. But no, I definitely do. I mean, it really, and I always say, like, I hear people complain about their high school friends or like their college friends. And I'm just like, how special it is that you still have those people in your life.
Yeah.
Like after all these years, you guys stayed connected and you are still investing time and making an effort to see each other. I have clients who, they'll meet up with their college girlfriends like once or twice a year just for, the night somewhere.
Yeah.
That's so nice. So yes, I 100% do wish that I, made more of an effort to keep in touch with people that I know tried their best to try to keep in touch with me. But life was hard. I was, we were young.
Oh, I know.
A kid, I don't know.
And you've been
at that
how many states away?
I know. Yes, exactly. And then at that time, they were doing things that I couldn't do. And I'm very thankful I couldn't do those things. But, looking back as being an adult, I'm glad I didn't get myself wrapped in those things. But yeah, it's hard. But yeah, that's what's so nice about like you and me being sister-in-laws. Like I love my sister-in-laws. I have a sister and she's great. My mom's amazing. So I think they kind of fill in those voids. It's, yes, I think it's very important for females to have friends. And I think it's really hard to find friends as you get older. I mean, I guess that's why all those stay-at-home moms do like those cool mom groups.
Yeah.
Because they need that too. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I tried a cool mom group. I've tried a couple mom groups, and I know like it's been hard for me because I'm like, I don't know, I feel like it's so hard to sometimes feel like you like fit in with people. And like too, especially like because Anaya is only like 2, it's like I want to be around people who have like toddlers or like just went through it, not people like I'm able to hang out with you, like relate to you and like ask you for advice, which is like so nice. And like Danny's only 5, so like him and I are only 3 years, a little 3.5 years apart.
Yeah.
So it's like nice that like I can come to you and like they can play and like you like just were in my face, which is nice. But it's like hard, like a couple of mom groups I've been in, it's like these people who they just like, they're like, oh, like I don't know what to do with my life now that my kids are in school.
Yeah.
So like I have to work or I have to do something.
Yeah. I know.
But
it's funny, I keep getting asked that question now that Danny went to kindergarten. Like, what am I going to do with all my extra time?
Yeah. That was one of my questions.
Yes, it was. And I kind of giggled because I'm like, everyone keeps asking me this. And it's funny because let me just tell you, those like 6 hours that they're in school, it goes by way too fast. Like I got breakfast with a friend last week, and before I knew it, I came home and I thought I was going to have so much time to like clean my house and get it all ready and cook dinner. And before I knew it, I'm like, oh crap, it's 2:30. I got to go get them. So it flies by when they're gone. Yeah. And I still do feel like a pressure that I should be doing more during that time, or I should be like scheduling all my clients during that time. So, you know, just because now I have all this extra time as a mom because he's back in, you know, he's in school full time, and so are my other kids. But yeah, so it is kind of.
It's yes, just like figuring out like what works for you.
Yep.
So we're taking a quick little break and having pumpkin spice espresso martinis. I think they're called. I don't even know. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, they're really good. I will message me if you want the recipe, and I'll hopefully have it. So. It probably won't be pumpkin seeds, so what do you see this video? But it's okay. But anyways, back to our questions. I don't even know where we left off. But with family though, I feel like it's like, I don't know, I've always like looked at your family and I've always like admired your guys' family, like how close you are and like how like you're very open and like you guys are so spread out in age. It's crazy. Like when I tell people like your guys' age gaps and stuff, and like when Matt would be like, yeah, I have like a 40-year-old brother, like people are just like, oh wow, like, but it's like so cool like how you were raised and how like close you guys are. And like, I don't know, it's like cool to like, because I look at that and like I told Matt, like, I know it's like ridiculous like to be like I feel like every girl's like, oh, I want like 10 kids, but I'm like, oh, like I would love 4 kids. Like I love like your guys' family dynamic, and like I'm sure that has been like so helpful for you. And like and honestly though, like too, like who needs friends when you're like so close to your family? Like because I think that's the thing that we like overlook the most, is that like family should consume. It's good that if it's good that we don't need friends to fill our family's spots, if that like makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I love my family. I really do. And I think it is like me and you and Matt just went to Aruba together. Yeah. Like I just went to Aruba with my little brother. Like I had so much fun, and it was so cool.
You know, when it's like ride a horse for the first time.
I was so proud of him. And we almost had a witness going down an airplane together. No. But no, all seriousness, we really do have a nice, close-knit family. We have our issues, but you know, I believe we all feel the same way, that like our family is very important to us, and having those connections with each other is very important to us. So I feel like that's what makes our family work. You know, there's some families that they don't have a brother that puts into the effort. They don't have a sister who, you know, checks in on you all the time. So it is, but yes, when it comes to my family and being lucky to have great sister-in-laws, that it really, you know, it really makes our family special. And that's very important to my parents and my mom, especially because I know, you know, growing up, she was very close with her brother, and she still is. But them being so close together and having each other, I believe made them helped get them through a lot of hard stuff. Yeah. So for her to raise 4 kids and say, hey, this is what's important, this is who's important in your life, I really think that has made her very happy to know that's how we are. And I know that we will be able to take on whatever life throws at us as a family. Yeah. Might hate each other for a little bit, but we always make our way back to each other. But yeah, And yeah, I think it's hard. Like when you have a great family and you have your own family to take care of, it is hard to fit, friends in there too. And it is. It's tricky. And I think girls are kind of hard.
Oh my God, yeah.
Girls are tough.
So hard. So
we tried to have girl groups and stuff like that, and there was always something going on, and someone said something. But and maybe that's why our family is so great, because we know we can say something, and someone might take offense to it really quickly, but it's a quick snap of the finger, and we're back at it, just being silly, having fun.
Yeah.
The guys tease each other like crazy and drive each other crazy, but they still love each other. So
I remember my first year being with Matt, and we were trying to plan out Delaware vacation. It was I think I want to say we just got back from Boston, or we were about to leave for Boston for Steph's wedding.
Yep.
And I remember sitting around the table and talking about the vacation. And I'm just I've only been with Matt for you guys were living your own lives, so I really didn't know you guys that well yet. So I'm just sitting there smiling, and then all of a sudden you guys started kind of yelling about vacation. And getting on Rob about coming on vacation. And I remember you getting Rob's face, and then Mike and Rob was getting in a fist fight.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, at that moment, I just remember laughing, laughing to myself in my head. And I'm just I already know these people I'm stuck with them. And there's no going back. But I feel that's I don't know. I feel when you try to almost put yourself into this cookie cutter, you try to be a certain way, based on what social media says, or you're so worried about what people think and look at, and then you portray that on your kids. I feel but then you don't get that organic loving, always there for each other, will drop anything. I would say we with us doing our house always, it's everyone's so quick to just drop everything and come to us. And it's I feel with normal people you normal families, you don't hear that. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
And I feel too, it almost makes it easier when you're raising your family, because you're oh, I have this support system, or it's almost you're it's okay. You know what I mean? You don't have to think oh, I have to keep so and so away from my kid. It's so nice to just have that natural
yes
feeling. But on a funny note, I have a very serious question for you. Is what is it raising a teenage girl in today's world? Because I have a 2-year-old who acts like she's 25. She's Miss Independent. And I am not looking forward to her having a phone, driving, going to dances. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Yes, I will agree with you. Little Anaya is Miss Independent, and she cracks me up all the time. She really is. So you will have your hands full, or maybe she'll be really Miss Independent now. And a handful now, and then
fingers crossed.
16, she might be a complete angel. Now, raising a 16-year-old daughter right now is no joke. Actually, I always say that great. I have friends in my life. They're oh, their daughter's 12. I'm oh my gosh, teenage years have started already. Sorry, when they were 9. My daughter has always been. She's kind of always whiny. Always was a complainer and everything. We all know that. Right? So you know that, yes. But when it came to that teenage, just crabbiness and snottiness, she was great. 12, 13, 14, great. 15, started feeling it. 16, oh my gosh, she hates us sometimes. And the nasty faces she gives us, and the tension in the room that forms when she walks in the room. My husband and I would just look at each other. I'm don't say a word about it. Just leave her alone. So yes, it is challenging. One thing I have always kind of felt, my mom went through a lot when she was younger, and she never let us know that she did. And she never showed it. She never really told us until I got older. And I appreciate her thinking to wait for the right time to tell us some of the stories, because we might not have been mature enough. But I feel if I knew some of the stories, and I knew really who my mom was and what she went through when she was my age, I feel I would have connected so much more with her, and would have felt, especially me, I'm very sympathetic. I like feeling those feelings from people, and I like to know how they feel.
Yeah.
And so if I knew how my mom felt when she was my age during certain things and the hard times, I feel me and her would have meshed a lot better growing up, because I was tough with her, and I thought she was perfect, and I thought she, she wanted me to follow all, God's rules and all that stuff. And, she was just, but as an adult, knowing certain things about her, I now can say, wow, that's why she was like that. She wanted to save me from this. She wanted to protect me from this. And so with Grace, I've been pretty open with her about things. And I feel like obviously you don't tell your, 12-year-old daughter certain things and you don't open up. But when she comes 15, 16, 17, you can open up she can know about me and her dad and the hard times that we went through and how this was wrong or that was right. She can know, that I had sex way too young, and I obviously had kids, but I didn't hide those things from her, and I let her know and the impact those things had on me.
Yeah.
And I just pray that, because I'm open with her, then she's more to come to me and be open with me about certain things. So that's just something I personally say is always be open with your daughter. Let her know that you make mistakes. Let her know that you're wrong, that her father's wrong, that, I'm sure you're going to tell him plenty of times that he's wrong, but, and to apologize to them, saying sorry. I remember listening. I was a big, I listened to podcasts a lot. My mom growing up, she listened to Focus on the Family, Dr. Dobson. And I remember her saying, Dr. Dobson said, blah, 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 blah. And it's funny how that has always stuck with me, because so now here I am when I'm cleaning dishes and doing laundry. I'm feeling kind of sad. I listen to Focus on the Family. I listen to Family Life. And I remember hearing a podcast talking about how important it is to apologize to your kids. Mm-hmm. And I really, really try to do that the best I can, is to say I'm sorry when I know I'm wrong. Yeah. And you don't say you're sorry and give them excuses for being rude or being disrespectful. You genuinely say sorry for how I acted. I'm sorry that I hurt you in those ways, the things I said, and maybe explain a little bit. But I feel like saying a sorry, giving an apology is very important. And the last thing is, you're going to need you guys to be on the same page. Yeah. Your husband and you. I don't know how families do it when the parents are on opposite pages and they believe how to discipline differently. Don't get me wrong. There's been plenty of times where I've yelled at my husband and said, you're being too hard on him. Or I'm like, you're not hard enough on her. You need to go up there and yell at her. And he's so easy when it comes to her. But I think being joined and being on the same page together, and Anaya knowing that now, when she's 2 years old, that it's going to make a big difference, knowing that, hey, mom and dad both said no. Mom and dad both feel this way. So they're sticking to it. I'm not going to be able to go to dad and, love on him and get him to change his mind, because mom and dad are on the same page. But yeah, I will be there for you, Amanda, when she is 16 years old, slamming your door, screaming at you, telling she hates you, begging and saying how much she loves him and just wants to be with him. I'll be there for you. Don't worry. I'll be that aunt, backing you up. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, with being on the same page, though, I definitely I feel like I've already seen myself, because I remember being I don't know, I feel like when you're young, you're we're obviously when you're preparing to have a kid, and you talk about you imagine this life in your head. Mm-hmm. And you're this is the type of person I'm gonna be, and this is the mom I'll be, and this is what I'm gonna do. You're oh, me and Matt, we're gonna be a strong front. And I already catch myself being oh, Matt, why would you talk to her like that? Or don't do that with that. Or you're hurting her. This is why she doesn't like you. Because she's in that weird two phase where she's pushing, seeing what she can push, because she's about to be 2 in a month. And she's pushing us, especially at nighttime, where she doesn't want him to hold her. She doesn't want him to touch her. He touches, or she'll be ow, you hurt me. And I almost feel it's because I've been you're hurting her. Or she doesn't, that's too rough. But it's also been super hard too. I feel like you can relate to this, which so to catch everybody else up on it, is that we sold our house and we bought a new house, and it needed completely renovated, taking so much longer than we thought. So much longer. I was optimistic, and I thought, oh, it was going to take a month. No, we tore a wall down. We exposed some things that shouldn't have been there. And so we are now probably not going to be moving in closer to Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas. More like Christmas. Jamie's husband is our contract. He is a construction company, so I call him I always tell everybody he's our contractor. And he told me we'll be lucky to get there before Christmas. And he knows I hate it. But anyway, so we've had to. I don't want to live in there with an eye because I'm just like I remember my parents barely renovating their house, like renovating their kitchen, and I would get like sick and I'd feel like crap. And I was like, I don't want to be her living in this, especially the amount of work we did. We took a chimney out, so there was way too much. But like moving back in with our parents has been so difficult. And we're like, it's nice because I'm like, oh, we're saving a little bit of money. But in reality, I feel like we're not because we're like buying toys and like, because we're like, oh, like there's nothing for her to, we packed everything away. There's nothing for her to play with. Like, but we were like, you know what? Like making this decision is going to be like a good financial decision for a family. But it sucks. Like, because we were like, oh, like while we live with them, like, and while we buying this house is going to give us time to like save up and hopefully like help get us out of some of the debt that we're in because school, we were told we had to, like, no, we were told we had to, but we felt like we had to go get these degrees and we needed cars. And when you graduate, because usually you're driving a piece of crap car that your parents bought you when you were 16 and now you're almost 30 and you need a new car. Like, so it's like
that car,
all this stuff. Like, so we need all these things. So we're in a little bit of debt and not a little bit, a good bit of debt. Thank you, University of Mount Union.
Shout out
to that. But I feel like us moving back in, like we were like, oh, this is like such a good decision. And lately I've been feeling like so discouraged. It's been so hard. I'm like, this isn't the life that like I thought we were gonna live. And like, I'm like, this isn't like what I thought. Like, this is stressful. Like, I can't make my own food. Like, I can't make my own food, but like, it's just like you're using other people's stuff. You're trying to like keep all your mess. Like, it's like I feel like I can't fight with my husband because his mom is right downstairs. And I'm like, she's gonna think I'm a psychopath. I'm like, I have to pretend like I love him every second of the day, which I do. I love him every second of the day, but I'm very opinionated and a very like loud person. So I'm always like, oh, like I gotta contain it. So, but it's been like really hard, like being back there. Cause I'm like, I don't know how people do it. Like, I don't know how people like when they like if they get pregnant young or like even like if they get stuck and they like still live with their parents like at 30, like I honestly like, I don't know how they do it. Like it's hard, like not being like independent and having your own space. It's almost like you're an adult, but like you're not allowed to be an adult. It's like so weird. But I wanted to ask you, so I forget how many years you lived with your parents here. Or was it a couple months?
I want to say it was just a few months. So we lived with Mike's parents for my whole senior year, and then we got married. And then after we got married, we moved here. And we lived Mom had like a finished basement. So we shared the basement with my brother, my oldest brother. He lived down there with us. But I want to say it was probably only like maybe 4 months. It really wasn't long. I pretty much hated my mom probably 75% of the time that I lived there. And it was so hard. I mean, we were so excited to be back. So we moved from Boston to Pennsylvania. And we were so excited to be, like, I wanted to be with my mom. Like, that was very important to me. Raising my kids with my mom was very important to me. So thankfully Mike was amazing and he was all for it. Cost of living in Pennsylvania, buying a house, renting a house, anything was so much cheaper than right outside of Boston. So we, so it was only about 4 months. So with that being said, I was so excited to be with her. But then when I moved in with her, it didn't last very long of the happy, oh, we're here with mom. It fastly turned into, it was time to get out. And I really do think there's a time and a place for your kids to move on and not live with the parents anymore. I just think there's things that mom and dad don't need to have put in anymore. They don't need to worry about certain things, but they do because you live in it. And, they would hear, how I disciplined JD or how Mike disciplined JD, or they didn't agree with this, or, different things. And it was just, it gets difficult. So yes, I give you guys all the credit in the world for moving back in. And the house that my parents live in now, there is no finished basement. So you're living in this one little upstairs tiny bedroom with a half bath, and you're sharing the same shower as my parents. So yes, I give you all the credit in the world, but it will pay off. Yeah. And I told my husband that Amanda needs to be able to have her Christmas tree in her new house. So I put the deadline on that, Matt. Christmas tree is going in that new house and the open floor plan.
Yeah.
Right in the corner near the window. So
No, yeah.
yes. But yeah, living with your parents is very hard, but it's needed sometimes. And I mean, that's what your parents are there for. It's to be able to open up their house back up and, help you guys a little bit, get a head start or, catch up or whatever it is you need. That's my goal in life, is to always have my doors open to my kids.
Yeah.
I might drive them crazy a little bit. I mean, my son's 20 years old, and I think he's counting down the days till he can afford to move out. And we're like, just stay, keep saving money. Whereas he's not saving money, but that would be the smart thing, was to stay. We don't bother you, most of the time. Yeah. But I get it, and it's hard. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like natural for us to like want our like independence.
Yes.
But I feel like your mom has been like so good to us. Like I actually I love my parents to death, but like I feel like if I lived with my mom as much as I stay with your parents, me and my mom would like probably kill each other. Yes. Me and my dad, because I remember like right before me and Matt got married, like it was really bad. Like I was like, I hate my life. Like, yeah. And my sister did the same thing. Like, so I feel like staying with your parents has been like nice, because like she's not my mom. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, and she's been so good. Oh my gosh, like your parents have been so good to us. Like they don't say much. Like they'll yell at Matt here and there, but for like being too rough with her. Or they'll be like, you work too much.
But work more so the house can be done.
That's fine. I'm like, no, he needs to work more. Like, just while she's young, like, well, while we have our first kid, like, let's make all our mistakes with our, like, that's the thing too, is I feel like, it's like funny, like trauma has like so much effect on people that it's like funny. Like, I don't know. I'm like a big thing. And like, I feel like you either need someone you can talk to everything about, or you need a counselor, because I feel like no matter what kind of life, whether you were raised in like the ritzy part of Pittsburgh or like the ghetto, it's like, you had some type of trauma in your life, like someone raised you some way. Mm-hmm. You most likely are messed up from it, whether you're like obsessed about like, oh, my dad worked so much and was never home, so I need to always be home. Or we never got to go on vacation, so I'm going to make sure my kid can go on every vacation. Like there's always some type of like something that like changes the way, like how we parent. It impacts how we parent. And like, I feel like with us, like, I feel like we're like in a good spot right now with Anaya, where we're like, you know what, like we were both raised and we lived such great lives. Like we felt like we never like struggled. We were like, I mean, obviously if you're like normal struggles of life, but like our parents were financially like stable for us. Like we got like as kids, we got toys. We got to, Matt not so much as me, but like I got to go on a lot of vacations. Like I got to live my life. Like my parents always like put us first. Like both of us, we were raised in church. Like our parents like let us like develop our own faith. Like we grew, like we had a good childhood. So we feel like for like Anaya, we're like, we don't really care. Like we're like, she's gonna adapt to us, and that like it's okay. Like where I'm not gonna have that stress of like, oh, like Matt's working too much. It's like, no, he probably does need to work a little bit. Like he probably doesn't work enough. Like we spend all day together. He's okay. Like yeah. Plus he and I like on the weekends. Like, but I feel like there's so much like too. Like I always hear like people say too, especially on social media, where it's like they just like want their husbands to be home like all the time, which I would love Matt to be home like 90% of the time, because I always tell him I'm obsessed with him. But like I feel like it is though like an unrealistic like for our life. Like it's like, no, like he needs to work and it's okay. Yeah. But your husband texted me during this podcast and he said to talk about something he texted you.
Oh gosh,
Matt,
I'm gonna kill him if it's like a sexual video that he just sent me. He's like.
He was like, he texted Matt and he was like, if you're still filming this podcast. So, what is it?
The off-brand batteries in my adult fun toy, struggling to keep up during my first alone day and months. It's a picture of a... I can't stand it.
I love that he like thought that's what like needed to be on there.
Oh, it makes noises. It's a vibrator. Well, it's to crack me out.
I did not. At least they add fun to everything.
They do. Yes,
but
they do.
My last question for you, my last and final question is that if there's a girl listening to this and she's like really struggling, maybe it's she planned on getting pregnant and it's like not going how she thought it was going to go, or she accidentally got pregnant and she's like, what do I do now? And like as a woman, she just feels like stuck. Like she's like, I don't know like what to do with my life. Like I'm about to be a mom. Like I don't know what to do. Or even just a girl in general who's like, what do I do with my life? Like what would like some good advice that you would want to give her like for her life? Like next steps, or like what's something that like helped you with like when you accidentally got pregnant and you were like, okay, like I have to grow up. Like what helped you with that?
So I remember, so growing up right outside of Boston, there was Italian bakeries everywhere, which I miss so much here in Pittsburgh. So if anyone in Pittsburgh wants to do an Italian bakery, just, hit me up. I'll help you figure that out.
And emphasis on
Italian bakery. Yes, I want good cannolis. I want good cookies, everything. But anyways, so where we lived, I could literally walk to an Italian bakery down the street. So I remember having a big belly. I remember just being bored and walking down, having like a sad moment for myself. So I went and I got probably some macaroons from that bakery. And I remember coming back and just having a complete meltdown. And I remember crying, and I remember walking through the door and, dropping the bag, being all dramatic, and my mom coming over to me and hugging me and telling me what's wrong. And I remember saying, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. Like, no. Like, I don't know. And I remember her saying, like, it's okay if you want to give him up for adoption. It's okay. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to do that. But I just remember being so scared. Like, how am I supposed to raise a kid when I don't even know, I don't know anything about anything. I was 16 years old, just had no idea. And I just knew that I just felt in my heart that, one, he was supposed to be on this earth. It wasn't my choice. It's not my job, or it wasn't my decision to not give him that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And to know that God was going to prepare me and guide me on how to be the mother that he needs. Yeah. And, my faith was very rocky. I mean, it was Christian values, but I always knew that there was a God, and I always believed in him. I would pray to him when I needed, a little bit extra strength. So that's a big thing. Just pray to God, because he hears you, and just taking that time and just releasing your fears and your concerns and worries, to not have anyone have to talk back to you necessarily. Because sometimes when you talk back to, like when you're talking to someone, they want to give you advice.
Yeah, they want to help you.
They want to help you. And sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you just need to be able to cast all your cares on someone and it just be silent, but they heard you. And I can tell you right now, God hears you. So that was a big thing with me, and knowing that I was being obedient by being this little baby's mother. And I knew that God was going to be with me through every step of the way. And my mom did a really good job of kind of preparing me to the fact that Mike might not be there for me, because we hear stories about that all the time, how the dads just kind of fall off. So I prayed really hard that Mike would always be there by my side. And we're going to be married for 19 years coming up. But, so God hears my prayers. He stuck by me, and he was there for me through everything. So for that mom who's having a difficult time getting pregnant, that's not a little thing. And God doesn't need to always hear your big prayers. It's the little prayers too. So like, always pray, always ask him for that his will be done in your life. And he will provide, and he will give you the desires of your heart. For that young mom who didn't want to be pregnant, well, I commend you so much for sticking through and making the very, very, very hard decision you had to make. And that's deciding to keep that baby, because you will be blessed. And that baby will always be something that you get to love and cherish for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And that is worth it a billion times over. And just for that average girl that just going through life, floating on by, just got to keep moving. That was something I always tell my kids, and I always kind of stood on. You can be sad for a little while. You can play the, poor me card for a little while. You shake it right off and you just keep going. You have to. You have no choice. Our lives we don't get to just be depressed and lonely, or, you know, live in the house by ourselves and in America, or that's not reality.
The world doesn't stop.
Yes, just because you're having a bad day. So you have your bad moment, not even a bad day, you have your bad moment, and you kick yourself in the butt and you get going. And that's how you make it through every single day. And that's how things fall in place. And you just always try your best to just be positive and just trust in the Lord, because he will make a way for you, and he will, you know, let things fall into place. And I'm not kidding when I say, knowing that there's a God out there, knowing that there's someone above you that cares about you so much, that will bring you peace in your soul. And that will let you know that, like, hey, I'm here for a reason. One of the questions you were going to ask me was about, like, my identity.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really tricky, really, really hard question. And I really, like, pondered on that for a while, because I really think everyone is out searching for our identity.
Yeah.
And, growing up in a Christian home, how many times did you hear, oh, our identity is through Christ?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I agree with that. So I don't mean to mock it, but, like,
yeah.
I do agree with that. But it's so much harder than just leaning on the fact that your identity is through Christ.
Yeah.
But it really is. And it really is knowing that you were put on this earth for a reason, that God loves you and he has a plan for you. And as cliche as that might sound, I feel like now some people don't even like saying that, because it's so, like, a cliche, like, God has a plan for you, but it is really true. And just knowing that, like, my identity could have been raising my kids so then they can be the man or woman of God that God has for them, so they can go out and they can change someone else's life.
Yeah.
And, like, that's just been something of course I want to be, like, this fun mom. Like, I want to be this artsy. I want to be this artsy person that sketches all the time. Like, that I'll be able to, put aside and focus on mine. But right now, my identity is through God and who he says I am as a woman, a wife, and a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And my identity is with my husband. I'm his wife. My job is to be a good wife to him.
Yeah.
And my job is to be a good mom and to guide my kids. And that's just the identity that I have at that moment. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be, Miss Popular on, social media, or have a billion friends, or have this successful hair salon. I would love to get a
yeah,
because I know I could. No, I'm just kidding. But, I don't need that right now. That's not, that doesn't need to be my calling right now, or my identity right now is for my family. So and I can have peace in that, because I know I have peace knowing that God loves me and God has a plan for me and God has a plan for my kids and my husband, and I'm guiding them through that.
I think it's, like, even good how you said, like, my identity right now, because I think, like, that's the problem, is that, like, because even, like, I feel like growing up, that was my, like, even, like, now I feel like I struggle with that. I'm like, what is, like, I don't know if I love working, like, full time. Like, I love my business and I love, like, building something from the ground up. Like, me and Matt have had, like, 5 businesses now. And I'm like, I love, like, building stuff up. And I'm like, but then I also, like, have a passion for, like, my daughter. And I'm like, but I always feel like I have to, like, pick one. And, like, even with, like, with what we do naturally, it's like, Matt's always like, we need to build our personal brands. And I'm just like, I'm not a personal brand. Like, I'm like, who would want to follow me? Like, because I just, like, don't care. Like, I like to, like, I'm like, I don't know. I've gotten to this point in life where I just, like, I physically just, like, don't care about, like, looking the nicest. Like, I feel like, or, like, being the best. Like, I used to, like, be so competitive, and, like, I had such drive. Like, I'm going to be the best at this. Like, every business that I've ever worked for, I've always, like, built my way, like, up in the business, or, like, I've always, like, worked my way up to management, because I've always just, like, I like goals and I like reaching them. But, like, now having a daughter, I'm like, I've struggled so much with, like, finding my identity. And I think it's because we, like, think that it has to be something that's, like, there. So it's like, if we're a Christian and, like, we have God, we're like, okay, what is the gift that God gave me? That's my identity. Mm-hmm. And then, like, we're like, okay, I'm a mom. That's my identity. And, like, okay, I like to work and I started this business and I'm a boss babe. That's my identity. Like, or I'm a what? Like, I feel like we all try to find this, like, one thing. And I think it's, like, it was so good what you said, that it always, like, it can change over time. Mm-hmm. Like, but right now, this is where God has you. And I think that's, like, so important to people, because, like, I don't know. You always hear people's like ups. You never hear like when they're like struggling and going through it. Mm-hmm. And like, I can tell you that like, I mean, I cried right before I came here. Like, me and Matt were like arguing because I'm like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? Like, this is so dumb. Like, why can't like somebody else have, like, I don't know, like, why is it so heavy on my heart? Like, I always feel like I ask God that question. Like, why do you put things on my heart that's like so heavy? Because like, I don't want to do it. Like, pick somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I'll gladly tell you, like, pick somebody else. Like, I think it's stupid. And then like, even like saying it out loud, I'll be like, that just sounds stupid. Like, saying that, oh, God chose me to like do a podcast. Like,
yeah.
Look at me. But like, it is like, I remember telling Matt, like, I was like, I feel like I am in a really bad spot in life where I'm just like really struggling. And I'm like, I feel like we're not in a house. Like, I have no sense of security right now. Like, we had a business, it was doing really well. And then we lost like half of our clients because of natural life things that happen, like that no one had any control over. And like, I feel like I sat there for a minute and I was like, oh, like, boohoo us. Like, and then like we couldn't get clients and like we restructured our business and changed our name and like all this change was happening. We thought it was like good. I'm like, oh, this is good. Like, I like change. This is a good change. And then when like I didn't see the result right away, I was like, oh, like, life sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like struggling to raise my daughter. I'm struggling to run a business. I'm barely involved in my church, and that's like not me. Like, I always love like being involved in church, and I'm like not doing that. But like at the same time, though, it's like managing everything is so hard, and I feel like there's just so much pressure that we just like no one is just honest and just like, hey, like, I'm really struggling, but this is where I'm gonna go right now. So I think that was like really good advice that you gave to just like move forward and just see where God has you at. And like, just take it day by day. And like, you know what? If God has you here today, it could be completely different tomorrow. But yeah, so I feel like that was like, I feel like we were like everywhere. I feel like I'm always everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't like stay on one topic. It's really bad.
Yeah. No, it's good that you don't know where they're going to lead and like, you know, how your conversation is going to go. And yeah, it is good to kind of be, we really, when we talk, we really are everywhere.
Oh, I'm bad at that.
And then I try to like relay our conversation sometimes. Like, I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but like, yeah, we were talking about that. And then this. So
it's because my brain works 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I wanted to thank you though for doing this with me and talking and being vulnerable, because I feel like it can be hard sometimes. Just like, I don't know. And I feel like it's like, I don't know, this is like time consuming. We took up your day. So thank you for making martinis with me and doing my hair and letting me video you doing my hair.
Yeah. Hey, you were very vulnerable letting me do your hair.
Yeah.
Right.
That angle. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and you can click subscribe. You can follow me on my socials, or you can just Google it and check out the next one. But thanks for watching.